These are creepy TikToks that will make you rethink your whole reality.
At work, she fell in love with a murderer and inmate named Casey White. One day, she helped Casey escape. They used a police car to get away, resulting in a massive police chase. Eventually, they crashed their car.
The biggest artist in the world was behind the demise of this other man.
Drake killed XXX.
These are videos humans were never meant to see. Okay, so we all remember this viral video of a girl on a plane completely freaking out saying she wants to get off because the person she just saw wasn't human. But what if I told you some guy just did the same exact thing a couple days ago? Just watch this video and let's talk about it.
I'm back, it's your boy FITTIE to the E, and today we're looking at this compilation together, so grab your water, your popcorn, whatever you want. Just remember that these chains are free for limited time only, so if you want to get you some chains, check the link down below. I also want to give a big thank you to Yankee Snapper for the $10 donation. I know you said you've been liking my content, watching my videos, and I really appreciate the support. You guys want to be in this segment of my video, click the super thanks, and you will be in.
Blowing from a gun is a form of execution characterized by tying the victim to the mouth of a cannon, which is then discharged, causing the person's gruesome death. This method has been documented as early as the 16th century and was employed as a means of execution until the 20th century. Portuguese colonialists utilized this method during the 16th and 17th centuries across their empire. The Mughal Empire also employed blowing from a gun as a form of execution throughout the 17th and into the 18th century, particularly targeting rebels. In the Indian subcontinent, the destruction of the body and scattering of the remains over a wide area served a religious purpose, as it prevented Hindus and Muslims from performing the necessary funeral rites. This extended the punishment beyond death for believers, as it denied them the proper rituals associated with their faith.
Bro, I could not imagine getting killed from the end of a cannon. Hell no.
These are videos you need to see before you die. Okay, so did you know when a whale dies, it sometimes falls to the bottom of the ocean floor called a whale fall, and their corpse creates a complex ecosystem for countless deep sea organisms.
Damn.
Well, the video I'm about to show you is exactly that, which a research submarine discovered, and it shows many organisms enjoying this whale's homemade ecosystem. Here's the video, and it's crazy.
Whale fall. Here we go, baby. Okay,
yeah, dinner is served.
Oh,
that's not bacterial, man.
No, they are worms. Look at the blubber on the right side.
Yeah. It's not even digested all the way. This is so
Definitely, where food is so limited, I would imagine scavenging is a great strategy. Your food doesn't run away.
So yeah, isn't that video so fascinating?
That should be scary. Like, imagine just dying and then just having people eat you after. I mean, it's not really people. I know with humans we decompose, so like technically bacteria is also eating at us. I mean, I guess it's just the life cycle.
Oh fuck! Oh fucking shit!
In the very last cell, a dark figure can be seen inside. This menacing shadow figure stared back at Josh, sending him running in fear. But the question remains, is this penitentiary haunted, or was this all just a hoax? When living in a secluded house in the middle of the woods, it's very likely to see wildlife from time to time. Well, one man on TikTok saw something on his property that he can't explain. He began documenting his encounters with this strange creature on TikTok. But lately, this creature has gotten too close for comfort.
Oh, damn. Holy shit. All right. Son of a bitch just went on the other side of the house.
After hearing a noise on his roof, he discovered the creature was now on top of his house. This eerie, glowing-eyed being stared down at him before quickly ducking out of view. This bizarre creature doesn't appear to be an animal.
I was definitely not an animal. Saw the eye, you could literally see the eye reflection.
2 horror movies that are actually good. Part 64. Malum. This film is extremely demonic, creepy, and very confusing. If you get anxiety from these types of films, then do not watch it.
That's actually mad cool. That's actually really cool. I like that. We need more things like that actually help the world instead of just kill and eat everything and then end up destroying its own planet.
Normal looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. Ronaldo Doxa, a politician in the Philippines, took a picture of his family right before he was assassinated on New Year's Day in 2011. The man in the back shot him twice while his family was forced to watch. The man holding the puppy is Yukio Araki, a kamikaze pilot who just one day later would crash into the USS Brian, killing 66 of the crew members and taking his own life. Yukio was only 17 years old, knowing completely well that he'd be going to his death the next day. The smiling man in this photo is Nazi Joseph Goebbels, who is in a 1933 League of Nations meeting, and in the next photo, his expression completely changes. His expression changes from cheerful to hatred because someone told him that the photographer was of Jewish descent. This seemingly normal photo shows 3 men in judo attire. The man on the right, however, is Osama bin Laden, the terrorist responsible for the 9/11 attacks on New York City. The girl wearing the veil is Elizabeth Smart, who was kidnapped for 9 months by the man on the far right. This photo was taken at a party the kidnapper crashed with Elizabeth, and she was forced to wear this veil at all times to keep her from being recognized in public.
I'm trying to figure out is how the hell did Osama bin Laden go from black belt in judo to terrorist?
The term 4 horses, or disruption, involves using 4 horses to pull a person's arms and legs in opposite directions, resulting in their limbs being torn off. During the Renaissance and early modern period, regicide, the killing of a monarch, was considered one of the most heinous crimes. The 4 horses was reserved for this crime. Francois Ravaillac saw himself as a divine instrument and believed that by killing King Henry IV, he was fulfilling a divine mission to save France from heresy. However, his act of regicide was widely condemned, and he was subjected to a gruesome execution. Before being drawn and quartered, he was scalded with burning sulfur, molten lead, and boiling oil and resin, and his flesh was torn by pincers. Finally, he was tied to horses and dismembered. Similarly, Mikhail Piekarski's attempt to assassinate King Sigismund III of Poland was motivated by religious and political reasons. His failed attempt to kill the king resulted in his conviction for attempted regicide, and he was sentenced to a brutal execution. His body was slowly torn apart with heated ply.
Hello. I ordered a can of
Why are you ordering Sprite off the dark web, bro? You can literally run down to your grocery store that's less than 2 miles away just to go get you some Sprite. Bro ordered it from the worst place to order anything edible. But hey, couldn't be me.
This is how a 48-year-old murder mystery was finally solved. Nearly 50 years ago, remains of an unknown woman were found in an Ontario river. In 1975, the woman was simply known as Nation River Lady. Not only was her true identity finally revealed, but the man who we believe is responsible has been arrested. Jewel Langford was 48 years old when she passed away. A DNA profile of her was eventually used to try and find family matches. Luckily, scientists were able to find 2 DNA matches. Now, this is believed to be the first case in Canada where forensic genealogy has been used to identify human remains. In April 1975, Jewel was reported missing by her family when she failed to return home. Tragically, she was found floating in the river and had been strangled by a television cable. 81-year-old Rodney Nichols from Florida has been arrested.
Good job to those forensic genealogists in Canada. It's actually really cool how far technology came. Now we could just identify people based off of their remains like that. That's pretty cool.
This is straight out of a horror movie. These are the final messages between the Titan sub and the ship on top. So they started the descent around 7:58. And things started going wrong around 9:30. Before that, everything was chill. We're noting an alarm from the RTM. Reducing velocity descent depth, 3433. Understood. Do you need to ascend? No change with thrust. The rate of descent is increasing at 35. Going to release the ballast now. Yes, agree. Release the ballast. No improvement. Preparing to jettison the frame. Affirmative. Update when able. RTM indicator status? Frame jettison, multiple attempts needed, but starting the ascent now. Multiple attempts? What is your status? RTM indicators? Depth? 1 minute later. Update please when able. Crackling sound at AFT. Can you identify the source? RTM indicator status? Negative. RTM status? Trying to run diagnostics. Ascending now, but very slow. Sounds have subsided. Global RTM alert active, all red. Understood. Any codes? Depth? Ascent rate? Update when able, please. Slow ascent in progress. Quarter predicted. Unclear why rate is so small. No indicator. At 3476. We are talking it over with the engineer. Stand by. Depth and status, please. What's the wattage on upwards thrust? Reading red on the A power bus. I switch to B. At 3457 meters, more sounds AFT. Okay, now here's where they lose signal. Understood. Continue ascent. Talking to Carlos about power situation right now. Activating recovery procedures. Carlos is requesting wattage output from bus B. Status update, please. Velocity of ascent. We're not receiving you. Update, please. Status and depth report. We need you to respond with the status and depth. Carlos is requesting wattage update on thrusters. We are unable to read you. We are moving to recovery coordinates. Report if you read. Please respond if you're able. Literally terrifying. I can't imagine. Like, that's so scary.
That's scary. Like, you're just talking to them 1 second. It's like, yo, you guys are good. Just come back up. You know, something might just go wrong. We can fix it. Then the next second, nothing. Like, yo, you good? So can you give us a report on B? Hello? Whole time they're just gone. It's crazy.
I gave AIDS and hepatitis B to all my patients because I did not clean my equipment. I'm Scott Harrington, an experienced and renowned dentist. Throughout my career, I've treated thousands of patients and gained expertise in the field of dentistry. However, in 2013, my professional life took a devastating turn. Health authorities inspected my dental practice after a patient was diagnosed with hepatitis C. Shockingly, their investigation revealed multiple violations of hygiene and infection control standards within my office. I was accused of endangering the health of my patients by using unsterilized instruments, performing unsafe procedures, and employing staff who lacked proper training in hygiene practices. Consequently, thousands of patients were urged to undergo screenings for hepatitis B, hepatitis C, and HIV. This scandal led to the temporary suspension of my dental license and a lawsuit for medical negligence. I was profoundly disturbed and taken aback by these allegations, as I never intended to cause harm to my patients. After a lengthy legal battle, I eventually managed to regain my dental license and reopen my practice. If you're in need of dental care, don't hesitate to visit me. I'm here to help with all your oral health needs.
Bro has a whole 1-star. I'm not visiting you, bro. Hell no. No time soon, no time ever. Like, how do you mess up that bad? Pretty simple. Clean your products. It's almost like washing your hands before you go to eat. Like, if you're a trained professional, you should notice. Like, that's actually a little bit crazy.
One of you guys sent me a very scary Ouija board story, and I am so excited to share it. So
So the story comes from a follower by the name of Taylor, and it occurred when they were 12 to 13 years old. So when Taylor was around 12 to 13, they and their mom moved into their grandparents' house when their parents split. Pretty soon after they moved in, some weird things started happening in the house. Weird things such as hearing movement in the kitchen, walking by and no one being in there but all of the cabinets being open. Taylor eventually went to their grandma and was like, "Stuff is happening in your house. Are you experiencing this too?" Taylor's grandma then explained that long ago someone in their family had played a Ouija board and did not properly say goodbye, or say goodbye at all. And ever since then, that house has been extremely haunted because they didn't close that portal. 5 months go by and things are getting increasingly worse for Taylor. They were having nightmares so dark that when they shared it with their mom, the mom considered taking them to the hospital. They would see shadow figures running around from room to room that would look like people, would look like dogs, would look like birds. They considered moving at one point because things just got so bad. But here's when things got the worst. So Taylor was sitting in bed with the lights off and looks in the corner and notices a shadowy figure standing there staring. Taylor described the feeling that she got from this thing as anything but human. Taylor started to pray and hope that it would go away, but instead it charged and then quickly disappeared mid-charge. The next morning, Taylor would find 3 scratches down her arm that were not there before. After that, they decided to have a medium come and look at the house, bless it, and just try to help things out. The medium informed them that there were portals opened by the Ouija board that would never ever close completely. The medium was also able to tell Taylor the exact experience that they had had in their bedroom where the shadow was staring at them without being told at all. The medium said that it was an attachment to Taylor and helped get rid of it. The hauntings are still going on. They have the house cleansed and blessed, but it always comes back. And that was the end of the story. That is terrifying.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not really a big Ouija board fan, but I will say, like, I've seen some people do it. I've never really done it myself. I would not be surprised if it really opens some sort of portal. What do you think? Put it down in the comments. Mom checks her son's cell phone and finds this. Oh. Like, I don't know what that guy's intention was, but I would not trust him with my kids.
These are videos humans were never meant to see. Okay, so we all remember this viral video of a girl on a plane completely freaking out saying she wants to get off because the person she just saw wasn't human. But what if I told you some guy just did the same exact thing a couple days ago? Just watch this video and let's talk about it. So yeah, that guy claims that he saw a shapeshifter on the plane, and he instantly got up freaking out and tried to open the plane door while they're in the air. This video is absolutely insane, and what's going on recently with all these videos of people on planes seeing shapeshifters?
Man, I'm starting to believe it now too. 2 people just did that. I mean, bro, that's scary. Like, imagine you're just up in the middle of the air, 30,000+ feet in the air, and then there's some guy freaking out talking about there's an alien in the back of the plane and he needs to get the hell out of there. That should be scary.
All of the main traps in Saw 5 are possible to survive. Let's go through it. We have the necktie trap at the beginning of the movie. Each of the 5 participants are wearing these collars around their necks that are pulling them to the wall, and if they get pulled all the way to the wall, their heads are going to get decapitated. All they need to do is go across the room, break these boxes, get their keys, and unlock their collars. If they all worked together, the keys would have fit for every single person's collar, so they could have just passed one key around. Then the second room, we have the nail booms and then these sewer tunnels. There's 4 of them left at this point and only 3 tunnels. They don't realize that more than one person could just fit in the tunnel to save themselves from the inevitable explosion. So they end up losing another person in this room as well. Then we get to the electrical bathtub circuit, where in order to get out of the room before a boom goes off, they have to pass the circuit from one side of the room to another through this bathtub. They end up unaliving one of the girls, throwing her in the bathtub and crossing the circuit over her body. But if all 5 of them had been alive, allegedly they could have all just suffered a small shock and survived. That's definitely debatable, but whatever.
What I'm trying to figure out is, how does she know that one key would work for all of those though? Because I'm thinking about it like, he might have put different keys for different locks. I don't think Jigsaw is that slow.
The mancuerda involved tightly winding a cord around the arms of the victim. The executioner would then apply pressure either by throwing his entire weight backward or by utilizing a lever, thereby exacerbating the agony inflicted. The tightly wound cord, aided by the force exerted, would cut through the victim's skin and muscles, causing deep lacerations that reached the bone. The excruciating pain was further intensified due to the stretching of the victim's body, reminiscent of a rack, and the use of a belt or girdle attached to their waist. According to historical accounts, there is a story that suggests Giovanni II Bentivoglio, the tyrant of Bologna, resorted to the mancuerda torture method to punish the astrologer Luca Gorico. It is important to note that this account is based on historical claims and may not be entirely verifiable. However, the story goes that Bentivoglio was dissatisfied with a prediction made by Gorico, leading him to subject the astrologer to this brutal form of torture.
Man, that's messed up. Imagine you come to me asking me about something that I'll tell you, in my opinion, bro, I think it's like this. They're like, oh, I don't like that, so I'm gonna kill you. Actually, he didn't even kill him. He tortured him and then killed him. That's messed up.
These are the most disturbing torture devices I saw at the Torture Museum in Amsterdam. This device is called the garrote. And again, when I first saw it, it really didn't seem that bad. But then I found out why it's actually been called the harshest execution method of all time. The garrote was used during medieval times and even later all around the world for punishment, execution, and even as a tool for assassinations. The most recent case I found happened less than 50 years ago in Spain. So how does this device work? The victim is held in place by a collar that's made of iron here but can also be made with wires. It's then tightened all the way, the spike piercing through the victim, supposedly crushing their brainstem. But it didn't always work, because the spike would often miss the brainstem, so it would just be buried in the victim's head until they passed, which allegedly could take over 15 minutes. But we're not done, because there's just a few more torture devices I saw in this museum, so follow to hear all their backstories.
Nah, that's crazy. Imagine just chilling there having that shit pierced through your... R.I.P. them victims, man.
Worst ways people have died. My cousin's stupid, he just killed himself again 3 times. Damn. But was it the iPhone 13? That's why she dead, because she didn't get the update. I'm butthurt.
That's messed up. He said I'm butthurt. Nah, I'd be butthurt too, no cap.
The biggest artist in the world was behind the demise of this other man.
Drake killed XXX. Now, you may have seen there's been this theory going around all over social media the last few weeks, and it is absolutely mental. The theory is that after all these years, Drake is the one that was behind what happened to X. Now, let's have a look. Why do people believe this? Now, a long time ago, X posted this on his story, and I mean, that's sus. Then there are some lyrics from Drake in some of his songs which also are very sus. Have a read of the highlighted part right here. There was also another Drake lyric which said, if you held your tongue, you'd still be alive. Now, it's been clear for a long time that the two never really got along, and in posting this a while ago is extremely weird. Now, what happened to X was tragic, and it was probably just a robbery gone wrong, but there are a lot of people that believe it was actually Drake. Now, a lot of these rappers do have affiliation with gangs and stuff, so it's not impossible that this did happen, but I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, and hit that follow button.
If I'm being honest, it's not Drake. Everyone be like, oh, yeah, Drake killed X. Drake actually addressed those rumors, I'm not gonna lie, like in his newest album. He said this, take more than that to go pop somebody. See what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe Drake killed X. I think it was just a robbery gone wrong.
Stumbled across a creepy hole that was covered up in the middle of the desert in an unknown location. So he decided to uncover it and have a look what's down the dark hole. After enhancing the brightness, we can see what potentially looks like many pairs of glowing eyes.
Humanity's Darkest Pictures, Part 48. The Jonestown Massacre. It occurred on November 18th, 1978, at the People's Temple Agricultural Project in Guyana. Reverend Jim Jones ordered his followers to consume a fruit-flavored drink laced with cyanide while armed guards stood by. Many of the victims, including infants and children, were injected with the poison or forced to drink it at gunpoint. The cult had a history of abuse and control, and Jones was known for his charismatic personality and apocalyptic beliefs.
That's messed up. Imagine you invite your friends out to the rally, like, oh yeah, it's gonna be crazy, we're gonna be on a private island. Let's go. We're gonna be lit. This dude's kind of weird, but at least we're on a private island. You pop up to the private island, you get forced to drink a cyanide lace apple juice. Get out of here, bro. Hell no.
What would you do if you were staying in an Airbnb, about to take a shower, when you begin to hear voices coming from the wall? That's what happened to this woman. One night after renting an Airbnb, she began to shower when she heard something coming from the ceiling. Shortly after, she began to investigate. After finding a hidden air duct, she could clearly hear two voices speaking in what appears to be Latin. Shortly after this, the voices stopped. But that's not the scariest part about this story. This picture was allegedly taken while she slept.
Alright, yeah, nah, that was crazy. That was actually insane. What would you do if you just walk into your house and you just hear people talking in your walls? Like, that's scary, man. This is terrifying. What happened to that guy? Like, why could his head do that and he could just be upright like that? He looked like he got beheaded, but I don't think he got beheaded. Maybe it might have been a camera glitch.
So the very popular movie 3 Billboards that's out right now is the story of Kathy Page. Kathy Page was found in a ditch in the front seat of her car about 100 yards from her house, right? But she was found deceased. When the officers went and looked at it, they thought it was a little bit suspicious because none of the sodas had spilled. She seemed to have a broken nose, but there was no blood in the car. And she had a blade of grass on her back that they thought meant that she was actually dragged and then put in the car. So they went to her house, knocked on the door, talked to her husband, Steve. They asked him if he knew where she was. The officer said that he looked in the direction of where her car was and answered, I don't know. That night she was supposed to meet up with a guy. Her father ended up actually buying these billboards and putting up all these things about the case so that like he just wanted this solved. Like they knew it was him. And the family actually had video recording of him going to Kathy's grave and kicking flowers off of it. And her dad said that those billboards will stay up until justice is served or he dies.
Wow. That's crazy. I wonder what made that dude think he was gonna get away with that. Like, if you really think about it, the forensic science that we have right now, these motherfuckers will know anything. They'll be like, oh yeah, he actually touched this building last before he died. So who was he there with? Come on, man, you gotta be thinking smart now, dude.
Horror movies that'll scare the shit out of you. Part 28. Insidious, The Red Door. This film is extremely scary with tons of very tense scenes with very scary jump scares. Do not watch it.
This comment is in reference to this book that I was just reading, Playground. For those not in the know, the movie is basically about these kids that are all experimenting on this playground, but the playground is designed to unalive them. In like Saw trap fashion, unalive them. I can't speak for everyone, but I've been reading and watching horror ever since I was a very young kid. Like my first horror film ever, I was 3 years old, and I started reading adult horror novels as early as the 4th grade. And most of the horror that I consumed book-wise was from a child's perspective. Lots of Stephen King books are written this way, actually, because to me that felt more real. It felt way more relatable than horrors that was with adults. And even now, as an adult, you sympathize with children so much more in horror novels because everybody knows what it's like to be a kid. Everybody remembers what it was like to be that innocent and to have so much ahead of you. So I think the reason why a lot of horror is centered around kids like this is because it's real. It has a lot of heart.
The weirdest things ever sold on the internet, part 1. Firstly, Scarlett Johansson made an appearance on The Tonight Show in 2008 where she blew her nose into a tissue. She then put this used tissue in a bag, signed it, and then listed it on eBay. The auction went viral and the tissue sold for a whopping $5,300. In 2008, two sisters from Virginia, Melissa and Emily, discovered a cornflake that was shaped exactly like the state of Illinois. They put the cornflake up on eBay, and after an intense bidding process, Monty Kerr, the owner of TriviaMania.com, purchased the cornflake for $1,350. And in 2006, a man from Australia listed the entire country of New Zealand for sale on eBay. The listing started at 1 cent, but after 6,000 views and 22 bids, the price rose to $3,000. However, before the sale went through, eBay intervened and took down the auction.
I mean, that makes sense. Who's gonna buy who's gonna buy all of New Zealand? That was probably just a joke, but the one where that woman sold that chip for $1,000, some good stuff. I be seeing some chips that look so weird. I might have to start doing that.
This is Tina Gonzalez. She was a prison guard at the Fresno County Jail in California, but in 2021, she was arrested. It turned out she'd been having relations with many prisoners in the jail. She would sneak in contraband for many of her lovers, and became rather famous in prison for doing what she did. Tina would also warn her lovers of upcoming searches of their cells. Tina was sentenced to 210 days behind bars, and 2 years of probation. This is Vicky White, a prison guard from Alabama. While at work, she fell in love with a murderer and inmate named Casey White. One day, she helped Casey escape. They used a police car to get away, resulting in a massive police chase. Eventually, they crashed their car. Casey White was taken back to prison, but Vicky sadly passed away. This is Nancy Gonzalez. She was a guard at a New York prison. That's where she met Ronell Wilson. Ronell Wilson was behind bars for ending the lives of 2 undercover cops. Eventually, Nancy became pregnant with Ronell's child. Nancy was arrested and sentenced to 1 year behind bars.
That one woman that let out the prisoner and put him in the police car, isn't that a little bit dumb? Because police can just track where the car's going, so it made no sense. I don't know why she just didn't use her own car.
The Divine Order of the Royal Arms of the Great 11, or the Blackburn Cult, May Otis Blackburn, declared herself the High Priestess. May described the key elements of the new religion to her followers. She believed the 4th dimension was regulated by the Tree of Life, and this tree would allow everyone to achieve eternal life. But this tree was damaged by Adam and Eve when they took the forbidden fruit, so the cycle of eternity was broken, and she was the only one who could fix it. Once the tree healed, then a divine royal order would form, and this would be the Royal Arms of the Great 11, which would be 11 women, including May, and all of them would become the superhuman rulers of the universe. After the apocalypse, they would all perish, but the Tree of Life would resurrect them from the dead. Then they would be granted huge marble palaces in Hollywood, where they would live, and each of the 11 women would also have 11 husbands each. Wow, it's just shocking to think people could fall for this.
Right? No one's gonna die, the end of the world's coming, but everyone's getting 11 husbands too.
Yeah, in a mansion in Hollywood.
Yeah, right.
Because after the apocalypse, Hollywood will still be there.
Nah, he's not wrong. That is a little bit crazy how people would do that. Like, I'm really sitting here thinking about it. I'm like, bro, 11 husbands? Let's be real. Let's be real, shawty. It's not happening.
My Haunted Hotel is a 400-year-old haunted attraction which earned the title of the UK's most haunted hotel. The building was constructed in 1622 and now opens its doors to guests who are brave enough to spend the night. 16 cameras are scattered throughout the building, and just recently, they managed to catch something chilling. A ghostly apparition quickly darted past the window. This entity appeared to be glowing as it moved from right to left. It's also worth noting that this is a second-story window, so it's not possible for anyone to simply walk by. The owners of the hotel are stumped and can't explain what was caught, leading them to believe that this is proof of the many spirits.
Honestly, if you give me a couple of my friends, a couple of females, you know what I'm saying, and some cameras to film the experience, I'm doing it. I would do that. That'd be 100% worth it. You know how fun that would be?
Mars Rover Opportunity had the saddest last words I have ever heard. She was supposed to survive for just 90 days on the Red Planet, but using her solar panels, she traveled 28 miles across the Martian surface over 14 years. Then one fateful day, as a Martian storm descended on the rover and the skies were choked of all sunlight, the solar-powered Opportunity messaged home, saying, "My battery is low and it's getting dark."
Damn, that's like some human robot death shit. You know how crazy that is? I wouldn't be surprised if Mars was once populated with people like millions upon probably even billions of years ago.
A woman named Jen purchased an old farm property and soon found out that it was extremely haunted. Her new home became a hotspot for paranormal activity, and a dark being began to appear around the property.
Oh my God, what the
In the upstairs window, a shadow figure quickly walked by. This dark, ominous figure filled Jen with fear, leaving her frozen in place. Until this day, she has no idea who or what this was. On a TikTok account that no longer exists, a video was posted of what appears to be a haunted doll. One day, while a young girl was recording herself playing with her favorite doll, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Until suddenly, the young girl hears something that caught her attention. Then this happened.
So, Kiliana, what?
As soon as the young girl looked to her left, the doll can be seen turning its head to look at her. The girl immediately noticed this and quickly ran to tell her mom. This slight movement is chilling, as there's no denying that something caused this doll's head to move. Well, after this discovery, they might as well toss that thing in a blender.
Yeah, do what that guy said. Just end it. Just throw it away. What the hell? Imagine that shit looked at me like that, but what the?
Military is indeed aware of UFOs. On August 15th, 1950, Nick Mariana, the general manager regarding UFOs.
But the military 100% knows about UFOs. This has been confirmed. This is like well-known news. In my opinion, I'm just trying to figure out like what the aliens/UFOs want.
There's a theory that in Spider-Man No Way Home, Andrew Garfield's character, he stopped a canon event from happening. Remember when Tom Holland and Zendaya were on the Eiffel Tower? Or not the Eiffel Tower, sorry, the Statue of Liberty? Zendaya fell from the Statue of Liberty, ready to die, just like all the other canon events of each Spider-Man when Gwen Stacy falls and dies, right? Just like that's what happened in Into the Spider-Verse 2, where they can't stop a canon event from happening or else it will fuck the whole timeline and deadass just destroy the universe. Andrew Garfield, not being from Tom Holland's universe, saved Zendaya stopping the canon event, and he probably fucked up the timeline. It makes sense now because Into the Spider-Verse 2 came out. They talk about canon events.
So if that never happened, there would probably not even be another movie type shit. Like,
or like something crazy is gonna happen now. Something crazy is gonna happen now.
Damn, someone that actually made sense to me. I was like, yo, that's true. Like every Spider-Man, there's always that one person that's just like, oh, just fall into their death, and the Spider-Man's like, try to save him, but too late.
Have you ever heard of the Filipino urban legend of the Dancing Ballerina? The legend of the Dancing Ballerina is a popular urban legend in the Philippines. According to the story, there is a haunted ballerina figurine that is believed to have a mysterious and supernatural ability to move and dance on its own. The ballerina figurine is exquisitely crafted, with delicate features and a captivating presence. It is said to possess an enchantment or curse that allows it to come to life and perform graceful ballet moves when no one is watching. The legend typically revolves around an old antique shop or a collector's home where the ballerina figurine is displayed. Witnesses claim to have seen the ballerina moving or twirling by itself, sometimes accompanied by haunting music or the sound of ballet slippers on a wooden floor. Some believe that the figurine is inhabited by the spirit of a deceased dancer who yearns to continue her passion for dance even in the afterlife. Others suggest that the figurine is cursed or possessed by a malevolent force. The legend of the Dancing Ballerina serves as a cautionary tale, warning people about the dangers of acquiring cursed or haunted objects. It taps into the fear of the unknown and the supernatural, as well as our fascination with the world of ballet and the beauty of dance.
I used to know a lot of people that used to have those dancing ballerinas back in the day. If you had one of those, put it down in the comments.
There was also a theory that in the Guardians of the Galaxy poster, they would expose who dies. Oh, in that shit. Thing. Do they actually? Yeah, so search up Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Look at the color of the words.
It's yellow.
People are saying it's kind of represents like wood and stuff.
Let me see.
Who dies in the first one?
Groot.
Yeah, so look up number 2. Number 2 is blue. Who dies in Guardians of the Galaxy 2?
Yondu.
Yes.
Oh, shit. And it is red.
Yeah, no, it's blue and red.
And a bit of yellow. Yo, because Yondu's eyes, right?
So now but it kind of got disproved, but Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah, it's white. It's just white.
There was another one I was looking at. It represented Rocket because it had red and it had like the raccoon whiskers. Yeah, but he kind of did die because remember he got like, he almost
did die, low-key.
Yeah, he did die low-key. So.
Spoiler.
So, oh, fuck.
Ah, shit. Spoiler.
Spoiler.
That's a fuck spoiler. I'm not gonna lie.
We found this abandoned mansion that was last owned by a drug dealer. In 2018, police were called over a domestic dispute. The man then barricaded himself inside, and there was a standoff for over 7 hours. He finally surrendered after police threw smoke bombs inside. He was then charged with aggravated assault, and the home was seized. What we found inside will shock you.
Damn, that looked like a really nice house too. Sadly, it's now given to nature.
This man has been locked in this machine for 70 years. Paul Alexander has spent his entire life locked inside this metal canister, and if he ever leaves, he will die. Wow. When Paul was a kid, he was diagnosed with a disease called polio, causing him to be totally paralyzed. And this machine allows him to breathe, so if he left it for 1 second, he would pass away. Amazingly, he still lives life as best as he can, and he has friends who visit him regularly.
Hey man, good job to those friends, you know? They see that their homie was in a bad position, but they still try to visit from time to time. That's pretty good.
Have you ever heard of the Vietnamese urban legend of the ghostly wedding? The legend of the ghostly wedding is a haunting Vietnamese tale that revolves around the wedding ceremony that takes place in the spirit realm. It is a story that combines elements of love, tragedy, and the supernatural. According to the legend, the ghostly wedding is said to occur in the realm of spirits or ghosts. It involves ghostly brides and grooms who are unable to find peace and move on due to unresolved love or unfinished business in their lives. These spirits come together to partake in a wedding ceremony, seeking closure and a chance to be united in eternal matrimony. The ghostly wedding is said to be a sorrowful and ethereal event. The ceremony takes place in a mythical setting, often described as a moonlit grove or an otherworldly landscape. Ghostly music, ethereal decorations, and shimmering lights set the stage for the solemn union. During the wedding, the ghostly brides and grooms exchange vows and profess their eternal love. It is said that their love is so strong that it transcends the boundaries between life and death. The ceremony is both a celebration of their love and a plea for redemption or release from their earthly attachments. Witnessing a ghostly wedding is believed to be a rare occurrence. Those who happen upon the event may experience a mixture of emotions, including awe, sadness, and a sense of ephemeral nature of existence. Some versions of the legend suggest that those who witness the ghostly wedding may be granted a glimpse into the realm of spirits and gain a deeper understanding of love, loss, and the mysteries of the afterlife. The legend of the ghostly wedding serves as a poignant reminder of the power of love and the longing for resolution in the realm of the supernatural. It reflects the belief that the bonds of love can transcend death and that some spirits remain tethered to the earthly realm until they find closure or fulfillment.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen a movie called Interstellar, but I remember they were talking about how love is not bound to the universe. It's actually universal. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Behind me is an x-ray of 34 nails inside of Mr. Chen Liu's skull. He was killed with a nail gun, he was shot in the head and the neck. And as you can see, this x-ray is gruesome. Mr. Liu's body was found severely decomposed by 2 children in 2008. His body was found in Sydney, Australia. Police and medical examiners said that Chen was probably dead for about 12 days before he was found. The unit investigating the murder said they've never seen anything so gruesome with a nail gun before. In fact, many working on this case claim that they've never even seen anyone murdered by a nail gun before. The victim was alone in Australia for 8 years. He had no family. The crazy part of this is no arrests have been made since 2008. All they have is the model of a car, which was a blue Range Rover Sport. That is all the information they have. That was the car that dumped Mr. Leo's body into the river. The victim was only 27 or 28 years old. I've looked for updated articles on anything I could find on this. Most of them I found are from 2009, so his murderers still walk free today. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below.
Man, that's absolutely crazy. This dude had nails in his brain. Do you even understand that?
This woman killed her husband and made him into stew. But that's not even the most shocking part of this case. Catherine Knight was an Australian abattoir worker. Her early years were horrific, as her dad was an aggressive alcoholic. Her dad abused her mother, and Catherine was also SA'd by multiple family members. She would go on to meet David Kellett, who had a similar personality to her dad. He also had alcohol problems and was violent. However, he had very much met his match with Catherine. On their wedding night, she strangled him over a disagreement. Surprisingly, the pair did actually have a marriage that lasted 10 years, and they had 2 children together. However, David had many affairs. This part of the case absolutely stunned me. Shockingly, when Catherine found out about his infidelity, she actually took their 12-month-old daughter and put her on railway tracks. Thankfully, a train never came and the baby survived. Now, Catherine was placed in a psychiatric hospital for a while and did make threats to kill. Although David did briefly take her back when she was discharged, they did eventually break up. In 1986, she met a new David Saunders. He quickly moved in with her and her daughters. However, their relationship quickly became toxic too. Massive trigger warning here for animals. During one particular argument with David, as a warning to him, she slit the throat of his puppy. Shockingly, he stayed with her and they had a daughter together. The final straw for David was when she tried to kill him with a pair of scissors. She then met a new man called John and had a child with him, but she quickly cheated on him with a man called John Price. In her relationship with John Price, she would continue her violent and malicious behaviour. She framed him for stealing things from his company and he got sacked. In 2000, they had a particularly bad argument where she tried to stab him. He took out a restraining order in order to try and protect himself. However, in a horrible foreshadowing for events to come, he actually ended up telling people that if he was found dead, it would be Catherine's fault. On February the 29th, 2000, he came home, shortly followed by Catherine. When John went to bed, Catherine grabbed a butcher's knife and stabbed him 37 times. She dragged his body downstairs and hung him from a meat hook. She then cooked his body parts with potatoes and gravy, but this still wouldn't be the most shocking part of the case. After her meal, she took some pills and passed out. Police arrived at the house when it was reported that John failed to turn up for work. They found an absolutely hideous scene. Now, Catherine claimed to have no memory of what happened. At this point, police discovered containers of the human stew with names on. They realised that Catherine's plan was to feed John to her children. What? For killing John for the first time in Australian history, a woman was given life in prison without parole. Catherine remains in prison to this day and denies all responsibility.
Man, Catherine got some problems, bro. And she denies that she did it, bro. Who else is making her mans into stew? No one is doing that, bro. At most, someone's gonna get it over with, kill him, and move on. No one's making no man into stew. So weird, bro. She deserved that life in prison. Actually, she deserved the death penalty, if I'm being...
Encounter with a witch in an Indian village. There is a history of witchcraft from where I am, and there are numerous witch stories and incidents from centuries. The one I'm about to tell is a real one that happened with me. So here I go. When I was 7 or 8 years old, I used to play with my buddy in a large field behind my house. It was winter when the terrifying incident occurred. The sun was setting down at 5:30 p.m., casting an eerie glow over the surroundings. My buddy and I had wandered quite far from home, and a thick layer of fog began to blanket the area. Knowing it was time to head back, we started walking, hoping to find the distant lights of our neighborhood. After a few minutes, we stumbled upon a small area filled with bamboo trees, a place we had seen before. In the middle of this eerie grove was a small pond. We grew uneasy as we realized this was in the opposite direction from our home. Confused and frightened, we turned around and ventured forward, our vision obscured by the fog. We walked carefully through the dried-up winter rice fields, barely able to see anything beyond our feet. Suddenly, we encountered an old lady on our path. She was hunched over, clutching a dusty cloth that resembled a bag. Her old sari was torn and worn, and she appeared to be a beggar. We approached her, thinking she might be trying to convey something to us. But as she uttered incomprehensible gibberish, a really bad, rotten smell filled the air. Looking up at her, we saw her eyes glowing with a sinister yellow-red hue, and she began to laugh maniacally. Overwhelmed by fear, we sprinted away, desperate to escape her clutches. After what felt like an eternity, we finally are homes. Trembling, I recounted the horrifying encounter to my family. My grandmother's face turned pale, and she hurriedly sprinkled Ganga water, holy water, on me, muttering prayers under her breath. She explained that we had come face to face with a Daini, a witch. The next day, I fell gravely ill with a high fever that lasted for a week. To make matters worse, my friend contracted a severe case of pox shortly afterward, his condition far more agonizing than mine.
Damn, imagine getting face to face with a witch like that. I would just jump. But anyways, if you like this video, please like the videos. Remember that these chains are free for a limited time only. I was a little bit tired today, so my energy went low. Yeah, man. I hit the gym early as hell this morning. Just been tired. But if you guys like the video, please like the video. Sub up. Love you.